Coming off the bench would be great. Those 10 to 15 minutes until he builds up, the ability to really play big minutes, that's what they should do. But those guys need it. They have so many guys that are playing 39-plus minutes. That break would be huge for those guys.
Absolutely. All right, guys, I want to revisit the Clippers, who, of course, blew a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets, in case you haven't heard enough about that by now. This was considered to be a championship roster. So, Perk, where do the Clippers go from here? What changes, if any, are necessary?
The bench. You gotta change the bench. Reggie Jackson gotta go, Montrezl Harrell gotta go, and Lou Will gotta go. None of those guys provided the production that the Clippers needed. Lou Will was MIA for the entire playoffs, and Reggie Jackson had got benched a couple of times where he got DMP. So they need to look to upgrade their bench. I'm sorry, Lou Will just don't have it anymore.
Perk, I love you to death. You my guy. But did you just say they need to replace the 2 6 men of the year, like the last? Look, they don't need to make any changes. What they need to do is they need to just run it back. I believe that this team has all the talent to run it back. They need to have some more continuity. They need to work on some things. But Doc Rivers is a great coach. They have a very good bench, and they have a ton of talent up top. But they all need to play better, and Doc needs to actually do some more improvements and adjustments.
No, this is not a popularity contest, RJ. Just because they have the household names,
I mean, look, part of the question about whether you replace Montrezl or Lou is who are you replacing them with?
No one.
They just don't have that much flexibility to do that kind of thing right now because they gave all their future picks to Oklahoma City. Their salary is, that cap is all stacked up. Now, they would have a mid-level exception, but it's not a great free agency class coming out. They have a couple pieces they could move around, but that's always my question when people say, we need to change the coach, we need to change the bench, we need to change the players. Who are you changing them for? So it's going to be a tricky problem.
There's no one, Rach. There's no one, Rach. What you got to do is you got to allow this team to grow, like a lot of championships teams do. You look at the Miami Heat, and they lost in the finals, and then they went to 3 more finals, and they won 2 championships. You still have to give this team time to grow and to gel together.
No. When you form a super team, it's either championship
not in 1 year. Not in year one. It is championship or bust, but not in year one.
RJ, these guys are not in their 20s. We're talking about guys that are 30-plus years old, guys that are in double-digit years in the league. It's championship or bust. You think that Steve Ballmer traded away all those picks to bring in Paul George? That this year was just a sample size type thing, and we're going to wait till next year? No, their expectations this year was to win a championship.
It can be that this year was a huge disappointment, and the prescription to try to change things for next year isn't to tear up the whole thing. Those two things can be true simultaneously. And again, to me, it just depends on what your options are. I'm not saying that the Clippers front office can't pull a rabbit out of its hat. We've certainly seen them do that before, but it will be a challenge. It is a challenge to move pieces around, especially right now for this team this offseason. I do want to get to the team that is advancing in the Western Conference Finals. Nuggets guard Jamal Murray called out the media after.
You got Shaq, you got Charles, you got, I think Zach Lowe's his name, I don't even know. Stephen A, all y'all better start giving this team some damn respect because we put in the work and we got a resilient team, and we shouldn't have been down 3-1, but to come back from 3-1 against the Clippers, it was a big achievement.
Richard, I'm supposed to ask you after that, how worried should the Lakers be about the Nuggets? But that was your young rookie when you were in Denver. What do you have to say to that?
Well, let me say this, a couple of things. One, he is right, and he is wrong at the exact same time. Jamal, you know my feelings towards you. But this is the thing. You had a chance to go to the postseason, and you lost in a single-game situation against Minnesota. Then the next year, you go, and you're up 3-2, and you have a Game 7 at home, and you lose to a shorthanded Portland Trailblazer. Then you're down 3-1 to the Utah Jazz. Then you go, and understandably, you're down 3-1 to the Clippers. So it's not like we haven't been given a sample size of why people should question whether or not you guys can finish this stuff off. But he is right. They need to start believing in what this team can do. And me, personally, this is how concerned they should be. Jamal, you want people to start going to bat for you? I'll be the first one to fall on that sword, and I'm going to say the Denver Nuggets are going to win this series in 7.
Richard Jefferson.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because this is the thing. If they're tired of people not giving them the credit, then I'll be the first one in the media to give you guys credit and say, I believe that you guys can make it to the NBA Finals, and I believe that it's going to be done in 7 games.
What do you got, Perk?
Well, I believe you're dead wrong. You and Jamal Murray, and I got much respect for Jamal Murray. I think that he's a baby Gilbert Arenas. His game mimics Gilbert Arenas. I think Jokic is the best center of the league, but they're about to face LeBron James, who's the best player in the world, and Anthony Davis, who's the best power forward in the world. With all that championship experience and playoff Rondo, I got the Lakers in 6.
The Lakers in 6? Okay. Well, I got the Nuggets in 7. They have not given me any reason to doubt them thus far in the postseason, other than being down 3-1 a couple of times. But I'm going to be the first one in the media to give them credit.
Dan, the Clippers did not mince words after losing Game 7 here in Orlando. Lou Williams saying this team, quote, had championship expectations and had the talent to do it, but, quote, we didn't have the to do it. Doc Rivers called it a lack of trust. He said he's as much to blame as anyone, saying, I'm always going to think I could have done more. In fact, that's exactly what he told the team in the post-game locker room. He told the players, put it on me when you get questions. Of course, they clap back at that idea, but absolutely, they know there will be questions. Remember a week ago when the Clippers were up 3-1 in this series, and Doc was asked about the team reaching what would have been the first conference finals berth in the Clippers' near 50-year history. He said, that's not our goal, so I don't think anyone cares. He was right. The goal for the Clippers was win a championship, and just reaching the conference finals would not have been cause for some big celebration. But now they haven't even done that, and so a lot of people are going to care for a very long time. Stan?
All right, Rachel, the Clippers now 0-8 all-time in games that could have sent them to the conference finals, extending what was already the longest such losing streak in NBA postseason history. 6 of those losses have been under Doc Rivers, who has the worst win percentage and clinch opportunities among coaches who coached in at least 20 such games in postseason history.
Till 1 Eastern time, it'll be there in a blink. Fun night in sports. We'll get to Denver and the Clippers in just a moment. We begin with the best thing I saw today, and if you're watching basketball on this Tuesday night, I have a feeling you know where we're going to start here. This was one hell of a basketball game, and this is as good a block as I've ever seen. Leading by 2 points, Miami's Bam Adebayo rises up and blocks not just anybody, but Jason Tatum, who's cuffing it. He's going to dunk it. Taco Fall, who is a rim protector himself, looks up. This is the best angle. His wrist is going to break. He meets him outside the bucket, and somehow no body contact, and keeps the ball out of the rim. How do you do it? We'll ask him when he joins us a little bit later. The Don, Pat Riley, enjoying that, and we'll show you the highlight of that game in a moment. But first, Game 7, Nuggets and Clippers, as you just saw from the bubble. Nikola Jokic, lead for Denver in this elimination game. Remarkable to see how it just goes completely off the rails for the Clippers in the final quarter of the game, and Murray goes for 40. And Doc's team will not meet the LA Lakers. Kawhi led Toronto to a title a year ago. Going to have to wait in LA, and that drought for this Clipper franchise, well documented, and it will continue in its 50th season. The Clips reached the edge of the conference finals, but once again are denied. Now 0-8 all time with a chance to clinch a spot in the conference finals. Celebration is on moments ago in the bubble. And think about that. You've been down there 70 days. Everybody's just giving you no shot. And again,
they don't want waters tonight. They want something else.
Well, champagne and the other end for any franchise in sports. And you compile this team to not just make a conference final, but to make a deep run. It doesn't happen this year. And Tim Legler is alongside. And Tim, often in these situations, I feel like we frame this, well, why did they lose? I do not want to start there. I want to start with why Denver won, because they won, and demonstrably so. What was the difference in this Game 7?
Well, their best player was the best player in the series, first of all. That's why they won. Nikola Jokic controlled the entire series, right? And for me, to typify or simplify a 7-game series by showing you 2 plays on a touchscreen, sounds ridiculous, but I'm about to do it, because this is to the extent to which Nikola Jokic...
You're the best with this in your hand of anybody.
This set right here, Scott, this is it. This is the series. and particularly in this game at a critical stretch, it's just simple two-man game. But the IQ level of Nikola Jokic, before he even comes out of this spin and he goes to the middle of the court, he knows, first of all, he's getting the basketball back. And he also already knows the two guys he's going to engage